Howdy y'all, my name is Sucks Clown and welcome to my IMSA post-race review, about a day late so I could sit on it. The race I'm reviewing is the 12 hours, the Mobile One, 12 hours of Sebring. It's 2025 race review. Sorry about being in the dark again for these. I'm swamped with time. If I'm not recording one of my normal videos or making paint schemes, I'm driving somewhere doing work. So I would just like to talk about what happened in yesterday's event. Mostly what I thought about it. So most of the time I was busy. I had an earbud in listening to the radio broadcast. This was a great race. We were nearing record numbers for race distance and everything, but we still had a ton of drama. This wasn't like last year's finish, though, where we didn't know what was going to happen until they crossed the line. Each leader had a pretty big gap, but you had drama from the lap traffic, and this race was a better race than Daytona, in my opinion. Now, I love the 24 hours of Daytona. I love 24-hour races in general. But this one, the 12-hour race, was just so different compared to what we're used to, not than what we're used to getting. But, I mean, it was a great race, a great show, and proved why it is one of the endurance racing, I don't know if it is one of the endurance racing Triple Crowns, but one of the highest steps in endurance racing. Nothing compares to winning at Sebring, or very few events compare to winning at Sebring. And I mean, it was just an extraordinary finish, or extraordinary race, which led to a pretty decent finish and led to a lot of storylines developing from this. And I'm going to be interested to see Rexy gets back onto the top step of the podium for the first time this year, which wasn't really a surprise. Dominated last year, qualified P2, but it is exciting to see cars on track again. And my one complaint about IMSA is how long it is between events for IMSA, not only for the Endurance Cup, which I guess it makes sense why the first two events are so separated. It's because they're two endurance races. But I just wish we could have more events in the IMSA schedule. Now that's fine. We have other events, so it all works out in the end. In the GTD class, there was an exceptional battle between, I believe it was a Lexus and a Mercedes, where the Mercedes bunted the Lexus out of the way, old bump and run. I was genuinely surprised that there was no penalty given. Sorry if you can't hear me. I'm not trying to yell. I'm also trying to be louder than this engine and the car in general. But he did a bump and run NASCAR move, and it worked effectively. Almost too effectively. As, like I said, I'm surprised that he didn't get a penalty for it. That was if the Lexus went off track, like fully, or lost another position, my guess is the Mercedes would have been given a penalty. Or if this was an hour earlier into the event. I do think that IMSA changes their officiating near the end of these races, which is fine, but I don't know, it just doesn't always sit right with me. This one is one of those times where I don't know if I like that call that they made. I don't know if I agree with saying, you know what, it's fine, he doesn't get penalized for this, when that was a really dangerous move to pull and could have resulted in someone getting hurt. Luckily, everything ended up okay. I listened and watched this over the Xfinity race. I know my pick turned out in Xfinity great, but I don't know what happened. And I probably never will really get to know. There wasn't a huge storyline or anything, so who cares? But this race was great. Penske goes 1-2. The Myers Shank Acura in P3. And it was, like I said, it was a great race. Let's see, on a scale of 1 to 100, after about a day has passed, and I looked at the highlights from this year and from last year, I think this year's race, throughout it, was more entertaining, but last year's finish was better. And the finish is what people remember, so I'll dock a couple points off for that. Let's see, I'm going to give this on an IMSA scale, not an overall race scale, just like how yesterday I graded F1 on a F1 scale, not a overall scale. I'll give this about I forget what I gave Daytona, if I rated Daytona. Maybe about an 85 out of 100. And if I graded this yesterday, it would have been just about 100 out of 100. Which is, I believe, what I gave the F1 race. That was 100 out of 100 F1 race yesterday. This could have been a better IMSA race. But they had a 4-hour-long green flag run. That's insane. Especially in modern IMSA, especially with how different the classes are with the times ran. And how basically 5 laps into this, the GTP cars are nearing up on the GTD field. Yeah. That's going to do it for my 12-hour Sebring race review. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. And let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. Peace, y'all.